Basketball fans, it's here. The moment we've been waiting for. The NBA Finals. Two teams that are alike in some ways and very different in other ways are going up against each other. And I'm here for all of it. Thank you, basketball gods. Welcome back, or welcome to America's Sports. I am Ty. We are going to break down how each the Pacers and the Thunder got to the NBA Finals. In the last round, I predicted both series correctly. I had OKC in 7, it went 5. And for the Pacers and Knicks, I had Pacers in 6, and it did go 6. Pat on the back to me. Now let's keep it moving. We're going to go through some series odds, and we're going to break down what's going to happen along with X Factors, Finals MVP, all of it. Let's get into it. As you may know, I'm not one that really follows along with the narratives and media headlines that are being thrown out there every single day. And if you don't know, now you do know. And the reason is because most of the time, they're just negative. And not only are they negative, but a lot of them aren't even talking about the game. And that's just not really for me. But I think odds makers are making a narrative out of this, not even trying to. The Thunder are minus 700 and minus 800 at other places to win this series. That is a crazy favoritism for Oklahoma City. And this is coming from a huge Oklahoma City Thunder fan. So the question that I want to present to you guys is, are the Pacers being disrespected not only yet again, but even more so than ever? I kind of think they are. That's crazy. For Game 1, the Oklahoma City Thunder are favored by 9.5 points, with the over-under sitting at 230.5. And then, like we talked about for the series, OKC is sitting at a minus 700, and Indiana you can get for a plus 500. Man, imagine playing in Indy and then imagine going to OKC for the NBA Finals. This is going to be the craziest stadiums. I'm glad that it's smaller markets that get to represent the Finals this year. I come from small market USA myself. I'm a Thunder fan, but I am closest to the Indiana Pacers. I go to a Pacers game, or try to go to a Pacers game or two every single year. Think about it. The Pacers haven't been to the finals in 25 years, and for Oklahoma City, it's been 13 years. Let's hit up the injury report, shall we? And there's really not much to speak of. For two teams that are in the NBA Finals, they're just about as healthy as you could possibly wish for. And that is that. Let's look at how the Oklahoma City Thunder got here. In the Western Conference Finals, the Thunder took down the Minnesota Timberwolves in just 5 games. One of those games that they lost was a blowout, but really, other than starting off 8-0 in OKC in Game 1, it was really the only time that Minnesota was in control of this series at all. I think they did a great job on both Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. While the others did get them, Randle and Edwards played poorly enough to end this thing in 5. Gilgeous-Alexander was named the MVP and the Western Conference Finals MVP in the same series. But when OKC did have a close game, I loved the way that they performed. Really, outside of that overtime game with the Nuggets, they won most of those close games. Every time a team came up, got close to them, OKC had an answer, especially in that Minnesota game. I mean, Jalen Williams was brilliant, and I think Jalen Williams is going to be just as brilliant or more brilliant in this series. A lot of the attention is going to be on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think they kind of have to put Nembhard on him, although they can't keep Nembhard on an island alone against SGA the whole time. That's your best bet, because if you go Nesmith on him, okay, is Siakam guarding Jalen Williams? Maybe, but then you're looking at Chet and Ihart. Chet should have a huge mismatch wherever that goes. So I don't really think you can do that. I think Nembhard is going to have to be the guy that guards Shai and hope that that works out. Although, like I said, Nembhard's not going to be on him the whole time. There's going to be guys like maybe McConnell gets a little crack at him at some times. Nesmith is going to be that secondary defender, at least he would for me. And then I think Carlisle is going to mix in some zones here. I do think they will revert back to it because Minnesota didn't do it very much at all, and Denver seemed to have been the most effective when they went zone. But here is where I think looking at Hartenstein's minutes and his play is going to be huge here, because you get into all kind of mismatch troubles when you add in Hartenstein, in my opinion. The Pacers are by far the worst offensive rebounding team, and they are not really that close to rebounding in general with the Thunder as well. And that's why Hartenstein to me is huge, because Hartenstein is a great offensive rebounder, not just good. He's a great passer as well for a big man. And I think this is where Hartenstein can cause a lot of problems. I think he can have a lot of alley-oops. Although SJ is not really the oop kind of guy, they mostly come from Jalen Williams. So for your Pacers, you need to sit and watch on that, because Hartenstein catches lobs from Jalen Williams 90% of the time. I think this is where Hartenstein can really, really hurt guys, because he could get a lot of offensive rebounds and keep possessions alive. And I think they're going to need to, because the Pacers have been much better at the three ball than OKC has. That, on paper, on stats-wise, that's the one thing that you can look at that the Pacers have a clear advantage over. That, and the Pacers are so much better on the road than OKC is, and there's 4 games in OKC. But OKC could just counter that with, we're much better at home than Indy is. And you could look at the assists too. Indiana is number 1 in the playoffs in assists per game, but OKC is number 3. So they're not that far off when it comes to passing, even though you would think so. And a lot of people are also telling you that, the Pacers are just so much better on offense than OKC. But the thing is, they're less than half a point better. They're really close. They both get over 117 points per game in these playoffs. You can go back and look at the regular season matchups if you want to, and the regular season numbers for these teams, but for me the playoff numbers mean a whole lot more than those regular season numbers did. OKC won both of those games, and Shea averaged about 38 or something like that. Halliburton didn't play great in those 2 games, but to me it does not matter. So if you're the Pacers, what are you going to do to counter this Hartenstein? Well, the reason why people are saying Hartenstein could play an even lesser role in this series is because Indiana likes to get out and run. Indiana beat the Knicks in 6 after winning the first 2 games in New York of that series. Whenever I watch this team, I cannot believe sometimes how Carlisle and Halliburton get so many of these other players open. Miles Turner takes a bunch of open shots in this offense, and so does Nesmith. They've got to be loving that. Meanwhile, you have a ton of creators, Halliburton, McConnell, Nembhard, and Mathurin. A guy like Mathurin is a guy who probably should be a starter, but he gets to come off the bench for this team. That's an amazing luxury to have. And as we've seen, no lead is safe with them. OKC overall is a pretty good shot blocking team, and they're good at steals, as everybody knows, turning you over, as everybody knows, and contesting shots, as everybody knows. So you want to get out in transition. Turnovers and the fast break points, I think, is going to be a big key in this one. And if I'm Indy, I'm doing everything I can to eliminate second chance points for the Thunder, especially at home when the crowd can get rocking off a big three-pointer or an offensive putback slam. Oklahoma City's defense presents problems that Indiana has yet to see in these playoffs, and vice versa, though. You can counter that by Indiana saying, look, OKC hasn't seen an offense like ours yet. So the strengths for Indiana, the ones that you have the advantage at, that's where you have to play at. We're better at shooting a 3-ball. We're going to shoot more threes. We're going to try to get to the free throw line a little bit more, and we're going to get out and run and hope to slow you down. So Hallie doesn't really get to the free throw line that much. I think he should try to seek that out a little bit more. I know that's not generally his game. Siakam's going to do it. That's great. Try to get Chet Hartenstein in foul trouble or flustered a little bit. And then for Halliburton, let's try to do the same for Case and Wallace. Let's get that sucker out of there. If you're Indiana, you have to feel like if we can just steal 1 in Oklahoma City, take care of our home court, we can pull this off. I do expect Siakam to have a huge series. I think he's the one guy for OKC that could cause a lot of scoring problems. And Siakam is one of the most underrated players in the NBA. I have said it for years now. I really don't know what it is, but he's a workhorse, man. And you've got to take it at these bigs. You're probably going to get your shot blocked a couple of times, but it's worth it if you can get them flustered. You get to the free throw line and get yourself a rhythm, because Siakam's offense is going to be huge. And also, if I'm Miles Turner, I'm trying to play bully ball against Chet. I'm trying to make them put Hartenstein on me, and then I'll play pick and pop on Hartenstein. Just for the fun of it, I'd like to see what happens when TJ McConnell and Alex Caruso go against each other. Check this out. Caruso is literally averaging more than double his steals than turnovers in these playoffs. All right, let's look at some series leaders. SGA is a minus 6,000 to be the top point getter in this series, and yeah, that one's clear as day. That one's going to SGA. For the most total threes, Halliburton is the favorite, but there's no clear cut here. I don't mind Neesmith at this one at all. Lou Dort is probably going to be the one who hits the most threes for OKC. Most total assists, Halliburton is a minus 650. He will get the most assists, but I will tell you that I think SGA is going to be closer to him in the assists than you might think. And then most total rebounds, Chet is a minus 130. But a decent pick here is Siakam at plus 500, and Isaiah Hartenstein is a plus 550. And my prediction is on defense, Jalen Williams is going to lead in steals, and I got Miles Turner to lead in the blocks. But man, Turner and Holmgren, that's a fun one. Holmgren could easily win it. If Jalen is not the highest steals getter, then I'd probably look at SGA. But all right, now for the most important questions of them all. The winners for games 1 and 2, the winners for the full series, and the NBA Finals MVP. Let's do it. Indiana, probably the best equipped to go at OKC because they don't turn the ball over, but OKC, the best equipped to go at Indiana enforcing turnovers. It's the age-old question of the juggernaut offense versus the most elite defense like ever. I expect Indiana to shoot better. I mean, they've shot the lights out all series, but I expect them to get much tougher shots than before. And if they make those, there are going to be some times where they just flat out make them, because Indiana is so good at not turning the ball over and forgetting that you're even playing defense against them. They are so good at that. But it's kind of a give and take here. Like, Indiana will turn it over more than they ever have, most likely. But at the same time, Oklahoma City is going to give up three-point shots probably more than they have to this point. And they both do it to such a great extreme that the contrast is real. And Indiana is getting disrespected. I think 9.5 for game 1 is even too much, even though I know Oklahoma City is going to be rocking there. I do got OKC to win at home their first two. They're so much better at home than they are on the road, and that's saying something because they get wins on the road as well. One of those being pretty convincingly and one of those being close. Now, overall, for the series, I've got OKC winning the series, and I've got them in 7, but it's going to come down to the 7th game, possibly the 6th game. But I don't think this is a short over-and-out series. Nembhard, fine defender, but gotta like my odds with SGA in that one. Now, after games 1 and 2, we will come back and we will revisit this, and we will have a breakdown on what we're seeing and all that. Yada, yada. We will recalibrate and break down what has happened and what is going to happen after the first 2 games. We'll see if it matches up to what I said before the series starts, and we'll see what I got right. We'll see what I got wrong. And same with you guys. We'll see what you guys got right and wrong as well. Be sure to comment what you think is going to happen in the NBA Finals. Tell me who you're rooting for. And if you're not rooting for anybody, tell me who you think is going to win, why, and how many games. But that's it for this video, guys. You'll see me in the next one.